The first home loan deposit scheme. In January 1, it's been released.
And today we're going to take you through all the latest updates on the first home buyers deposit scheme, the latest lenders, the conditions you need to be aware of, and the time frames. Because Nathan, there's only a limited amount of allocations available. So let's dive right in.
So before we get started, we're going to go through a quick recap of what the first home loan deposit scheme is. Effectively, it's for the first 10,000 first homeowners that apply to purchase their first home from January 1 of 2020. Now, what that works out to be is roughly about 10% of the first homeowner market. There is an income mean test that needs to be supported. So for couples earning 200,000 or below are eligible, and for individuals earning 125,000 or below are eligible as well.
Yeah, interestingly, with that couple thing, something new has come to light, and you have to be either married or in a de facto couple. So for example, Nathan and I couldn't buy a property together because we're siblings, or you can't buy it with your parents. So there are some limitations in there for the eligibility. It is also postcode dependent. So if you're buying in a major city, say Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, versus if you're buying in a regional area like Rockhampton, Townsville, I don't know, Orange, there are limitations on the maximum purchase price. So in Brisbane, for example, it's up to 475,000, and there's different eligibilities depending on the postcode. There's a tool for this, so check out in the links below. Yeah, so the new information that's come to light now are the lenders that are participating in the scheme. So in other words, not all banks are going to be able to offer the first home loan deposit scheme. What we know right now is that the major banks on board are the Commonwealth Bank and National Australia Bank.
The major banks are actually going to start offering this from January 1. Now, we do also know that they're only limited to take up to 5,000 of participants. So what that means is if you've applied with the major bank, if they've hit that limit of 5,000 first homeowners, they can no longer offer that scheme and will go to the second tier lenders.
Yeah, so you need to be a bit wary of that. If you're getting a pre-approval with NAB, say now, you probably want to be in there pretty quick, because if you leave it too late, it's likely then to go through that allocation, and then come February, you're gonna have to look at some of those second tier lenders.
The other thing is also, it's not based on the pre-approval, it's based on the purchase date as to when you'll be approved through the scheme and can apply for it. So keep that in mind, but remembering the two major banks that have been approved to participate in the scheme are NAB and Commonwealth Bank.
Some of the non-major banks that have been included in the scheme and from 1st of February will offer the first home loan deposit scheme include a lot of regional and non-major banks like Auswide, CUA, Police Mutual Bank, a bunch of them. So they're all listed on the website. We'll include some details on that below. A question that we've been asked a bit is, will my first homeowners grant still apply if I'm using the first home loan deposit scheme? And the answer to that is yes. It's available if you're buying a new property, if you're building a property, or if you're buying an existing home. So just keep that in mind, because potentially in Queensland, you might get up to 15,000. In regional Victoria, you can get up to $20,000 on brand new properties. There's a bunch of different grants around the country. It's gonna change depending on your state. We've got a whole other video on this as well.
You'll also be eligible for stamp duty concessions. So check with your solicitor on what you're eligible for, because all these things still apply.
Yeah, so it could be the case where you might save 10 grand in stamp duty, get $15,000 from the government, and save on lender's mortgage insurance. It's entirely possible, subject to you meeting the grants criteria and all that other information that we went through a bit earlier. I guess the only challenge that we're thinking of at the moment is that allocation piece. So I guess typically when you're looking for your home, you might go off and get a pre-approval through a bank that suits you. You might go shopping, find a property, etc., etc. The thing that we're probably seeing, and it might be an issue, is if you went out and say got a pre-approval with NAB today, and then you come back end of January, ready to buy with your contract, they might have exhausted the allocation. So you're gonna have to be a bit nimble with this, and yeah, we're just gonna have to see how it kind of plays out.
The other interesting fact that's come out of it is that the banks aren't going to charge high interest rates. This was a concern that we had initially, being that the banks might consider this a higher risk. The good news is all the banks participating in the scheme have committed to ensuring that their rates are no different for the same level of risk as a normal customer would if they were paying mortgage insurance.
So Nados, if you're looking at taking up the first home buyer deposit scheme, what are some things you can do now to prepare for its launch in January 2020?
The first thing is you want to definitely make sure you've got your minimal deposit saved up. So the minimum is 5% and you can have anything on top of that. Now some banks have what's called a genuine savings requirement. So they need to see that you've held that 5% in your account for 3 months or longer. Some will actually take your rental history. So the first thing you want to be is prepared with your deposit. So if you're looking to buy a property for $400,000, you need at least $20,000 saved up. The second thing is you want to make sure you get your timing right, remembering that this is on a first come, first go basis. It's for 10,000 first homeowners, which roughly equates to 10% of the market. What we do know, having talked with many first homeowners, there is a lot of interest in this scheme. So be prepared to move quick and try and get the right property that you're interested in lined up so you can enter a contract from January 1 next year.
And the third one is just on that. Start looking at properties. We always suggest trying to have a maximum of 1 to 2 suburbs that you're looking at and you're investigating in. It helps you be a bit more knowledgeable on the market. You're gonna know what 2 or 3 bedroom units are selling for. You're gonna know a good deal, you're gonna know a bad deal, and you can jump on a lot quicker.
Also, when you're researching property, get to know the median price in the suburbs you're looking in. There's no point wasting time in a suburb where the median house price is far higher than the actual required amount that you need to purchase for to be eligible for the scheme.
Yeah, again, there's a postcode eligibility calculator on the website. We'll put a link in that below so you're aware and you can check it out before you start shopping.
So that's it for today, guys. If you liked today's video, please give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe. And if you have any questions about the first home loan deposit scheme, as well as want to apply for a loan, feel free to hit us up at huntergalloway.com.au.